It's actually pretty warm in this room. Why are you wearing a hoodie?
Because there's sweat patches under my arms and I'm embarrassed. The Terminator is a movie often held up as one of the finest examples of guerrilla filmmaking ever made. Filmed on a comparatively limited budget of $6 million, James Cameron somehow managed to stretch it thinner than an angel's G-string thanks to his experience working on B-movies in the 1980s.
So when you say guerrilla filmmaking...
No, I don't mean actual gorillas making movies, because that'd be too awesome. It's, for people who don't know the term guerrilla filmmaking, it's basically filming stuff without all those pesky permits.
Yeah, it's filming stuff illegally.
Yeah, to try and save money, and the Terminator is known to be one of the finest examples of this, because James Cameron did it a lot. You see, if anyone doesn't have James Cameron's entire filmography memorised, he cut his teeth in the industry working with B-movie auteur Roger fucking Corman.
Who's Roger Corman?
Who's a cinematic genius behind such masterpieces as Carnosaur and that 1994 Fantastic Four movie that never got released. If anyone's looking at the screen like Brad's looking at me now, yes, there was an unreleased Fantastic Four movie in the 90s that they basically made just to hold on to the rights for Fantastic Four for another couple of years so they could retry with like a bigger budget, and that ended up being like, you know, the Fantastic Four movie starring Chris Evans and Jessica Alba. So I guess the big budget didn't really help.
I love these costumes.
You guys look like an 80s rock band.
They have a lower rating on Rotten Tomatoes than that unreleased one. And I think it's got a lot to do with the fact that was the only live-action Fantastic Four movie to date to actually feature a half-decent looking Doctor Doom. Because obviously there are versions of it out there online, there are bootleg copies everywhere. And the version of like Doctor Doom in that is not half bad looking, considering it was filmed on $1 million budget. Do you know what my favourite thing about Doctor Doom? In his armour, he's got a piece of the original true cross that Jesus was crucified on to protect him from vampires. You might think that sounds stupid. Remember, he lives in the Marvel universe where like Blade exists. So that's not an unfounded fear. Getting back to the Terminator, according to Cameron, his time spent working with Roger Corman taught him, to quote, to make a film on a budget, which came in very handy when he was given $6 million and told to make a film about a robotic time assassin who comes from a future filled with sentient murder bots. To fulfill such a tall order, Cameron used basically every single trick in the being a cheap-ass filmmaker book, starting by filming almost every single scene at night.
Why film at night?
Well, when you film at night, Brad, you don't have to apply for any of those pesky permits because there's less people around to catch you filming illegally, which left Cameron with more money to make giant rubber models of Arnold Schwarzenegger's head.
Yeah, that rubber head is not one of the better things in
Yeah, it's
there.
not one of the effects that holds up, is it? Not everything can be the endoskeleton from the end of the movie, but remember, folks, 1980s, really small budget, they tried their best, like, giving the benefit of the doubt on this one. Because I think they did, like, you know, an admirable job given, like, what they had to work with. So that's one of the few scenes you look at and go, that one doesn't hold up. Almost everything else in the movie does.
But you can let that slide when the movie's that good.
But it's such a good movie. It's so fucking awesome. A problem that arises, though, when you film at night, like Cameron did for almost every single scene in The Terminator, is that it's very hard to light whatever subject you're trying to capture.
I'm assuming then they invested in some big-ass lights.
You mean like the ones we've got shining directly into my face right now, filming in a slightly dim bedroom? No, they didn't. In fact, Terminator 1 didn't have a budget for lighting at all. If you don't follow filmmaking that much, that's fucking unbelievable. Like, almost no filmmakers can do this because it's so difficult to capture a subject and light it in the way you need it to be lit. Not even talking about like artistically lit, just light it so you can fucking see it on camera with natural lighting that's available. That's why they almost always have these big ass lights like I've got here, which really hurt my eyes after a while.
I'm very sorry.
Yeah, you start to fade away into the distance just because I've got so much bright light in my eyes, you just disappear.
Make it atmospheric if you want, man. Just turn one light off. You don't do that. See what happens to the green screen.
Okay. Fucking hell, that's bad. Look at that. That looks terrible.
Oh, Jesus.
I remember, Terminator were filming at night. We're filming in the middle of the fucking day, and this is how bad it looks. Man, like Arnold Schwarzenegger's pecs look amazing in that film. They look so well lit. They're glistening under that light. And do you know how they did it? Because this is what I found really amazing. Like James Cameron, knowing he literally did not have a lighting budget, drove around looking specifically for streets and alleyways that had mercury vapor lights.
Why mercury vapor?
What? Go on. Try that one again. That's going in.
Mercury vapor?
Yeah, go on. Ask again.
Why mercury vapor lights?
Because they gave off this really distinctive, like, blue tinge. And if you like show like a clip from like the very, very opening scene of the Terminator where like Arnold Schwarzenegger walks towards the camera like completely stark bollock naked, you'll notice that he's like got this distinctive blue hue about him. That's as a direct result of those lights. So Arnold Schwarzenegger himself has complimented Cameron on this, saying it's the best decision he made while making the movie, because it gives every shot of me as the Terminator a steely blue metallic sheen, which makes it look somewhat futuristic.
He was just the perfect choice for the Terminator.
Oh, he was, yeah. We can gush about that all day, and I'm sure in one video we probably have already, but yeah. His casting was fantastic, but...
Looking at the picture in front of us, like, the fact that his pecs are so smooth looks artificial.
It does, doesn't it? And that's another thing they did, like, you know, to save on budget. Because one of the ways that Cameron made Schwarzenegger look like, you know, not human, is that before every shot, they'd spray him with a mixture of water and Vaseline, which gave him the appearance of always sweating. And the idea there is that whenever you look at Schwarzenegger, there's something not quite right about him, like the bit where he's stalking them through the car park. And he also as well told Schwarzenegger to move in a very unnatural way, which we've talked about before. I'll mention against this shot you're going to put in is Schwarzenegger will always move his eyes before he moves his head, because he's moving like a robot would, with efficiency, where it moves its eyes and then its head. And I just think that's like, that little subtle characterization right there is all you need to sell him as a robot. That's all you need to sell him as something that's not quite human. Just a little spray of Vaseline and just a subtle movement of the eyes. And you're unnerved by him instantly.
And then let's leap like 20 years ahead to Genisys.
Yeah, where he's leaping out of a helicopter head first to dive bomb another helicopter with his robot head. Other ways that James Cameron saved money, including teaching Michael Biehn, who played Kyle Reese in the movie, to perform most of his own stunts and slapping together the tech noir set on his own because it was cheaper than paying a nightclub to film there.
Wait, they built a nightclub?
Yeah, the tech noir set, they built it from scratch. Obviously, that's something he learned from Roger Corman again, how to slap together a realistic looking set in a short amount of time. And it looked so realistic by the time they'd finished and put all like the livery and stuff on and put all like the big flashing lights on the inside and play some music that people outside started asking if they could come in. They started offering, like when they saw the extras go in, they said, oh, well, how much is it to get in? We've got $5. And I'm surprised Cameron didn't take that money, to be fair, and just say, yeah.
Send the extras home. He's making money. We haven't talked about the acid yet though, Karl.
Oh yeah, the acid. The acid is the best bit, because obviously in keeping with the idea of make every shot in this movie cost as little money as possible, there was a scene in the movie where the Terminator gets set on fire and tries to punch his way through a car windscreen. And obviously, setting a guy on fire is pretty dangerous, and usually you have to get a stuntman in. So what they did instead is they poured a mild acid on Arnold Schwarzenegger's coat to make it start smoking away, to give the illusion of being on fire, and then just told him to do the scene.
He's really moving. Punching lights all the way. I'm gonna need an ambulance at 7th and Broadway, right?
And understandably, Arnold Schwarzenegger will later note, the acid that he poured on my coat and caused all that steam really irritated my eyes, but I was a professional, so I powered through.
Would have been a bit of a downside in that scene if Arnold Schwarzenegger had been crying. Just the Terminator just weeping.
The Terminator apologizing, I'm so sorry, Kyle Reese. I don't mean to do this. So Brad and the audience at home, I think we can all agree that having any kind of acid, however mild, poured upon your person is something that would suck, correct?
Yeah.
Not according to stuntman Peter Kent.
What did Peter Kent say?
There was an interview with him where they asked him about that shot and how it was achieved, where the guy asked him, like, well, is it true for that shot in Terminator where the Terminator's on fire, they just poured like acid on Arnold Schwarzenegger? That's kind of crazy, right? And Peter Kent goes, yeah, they did do that, but Arnold Schwarzenegger's a pussy, saying that it hurt his eyes. So I'd like to, at this moment, just put in a shot of Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, the huge pussy that he is in the Terminator, and think to yourself, would you call that guy a pussy to his face? That guy who was trained in the army as a tank driver and won every award in bodybuilding. Yeah, what a huge pussy that guy is. How insecure do you have to be to sit there thinking, yeah, I'm going to insult Conan the Barbarian, the Terminator, and Officer fucking Kimball and call him a pussy. It's like, no, have you seen him in Commando, lifting up that big old log or firing like that quad rocket launcher at everybody? Arnold Schwarzenegger beat the Predator in a fist fight. If he says that having that acid hurt his eyes, I'm gonna fucking believe it.
Somebody must have called the police on him at some point. That's not the kind of film that doesn't attract attention.
Yeah, a guy walking around with like guns at night, shooting them and punching people through the windows and stuff. To my knowledge, no, there was only one shot in the entire movie that alerted the police, and it's the very final one of the entire film. It's apparently the final shot they shot for the movie itself. So to get that shot, they drove out to the middle of bumfuck nowhere, put the camera on the road, and just waited for a sunset. And according to James Cameron, they waited all day, didn't see a single car drive past them once, until the sun was at the right point in the sky to get the shot, at which point a police car rolled up, because that's just sod's law in it. So the police officer steps out of the car, walks over to James Cameron, "What are you doing?" James Cameron's like, "Well, we're making a movie. You know, you need a permit for that, son." And he goes, "Oh, I didn't realise, it's a student film." And the police officer looks around, sees obviously like a single camera, James Cameron and a person walking off into the distance, goes, "Yeah, that sounds about right. I don't really want to bust a kid just trying to get a good grade. Next time, get a permit, hurry up and drive home." So he did, and they got away with that. And I'd like to think that police officer went and watched Terminator in the cinema, saw that shot and went, "Wow, this is a student film? I hope we got a good grade for this." As shit as Terminator Genisys is, I like how it continues the trend of Terminator movies spoiling their own twist in their marketing material, because people don't know Terminator 2 is infamous in cinema because the twist of the film is the Terminator is a good guy this time, and the entire movie is filmed in such a way that you don't know Arnold Schwarzenegger is a good guy, which is why the T-1000 takes on the appearance of a police officer. You think, oh, that must be the good Terminator. It's a police officer, and it's not as physically imposing or as intimidating as Arnold Schwarzenegger. The marketing for that film says he's back, and he's back to protect us, some shit like that. They spoil it in the trailer.
And the trailer has the shot of him saying, "Get down."
Yeah, the Guns N' Roses
that big
shot.
clutch moment where everyone goes, "Oh my god,
He's the good guy." And they spoil it in the fucking trailer. Like, James Cameron spent ages crafting this movie where you don't quite know what's happening and it's ruined. And then in Terminator Genisys, they do it again and they spoiled it on the poster. The poster shows that John Connor is a Terminator and they play it as a twist again.
See, that pissed me off about that as well, because I was like, I might have enjoyed that twist more
If it hadn't, like,
if it had been a twist.
the way I'd heard it put is, even if you avoided every trailer and every piece of marketing material for that movie, it would have been spoiled for you when you went into the cinema, because the poster outside the cinema screening would have been the poster they used, which shows John Connor as a robot. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake. And now they're making a new one.
Oh god, they're not.
Yeah, James Cameron's back in it because
okay.
yeah, because James Cameron's obviously embarrassed that there are more bad Terminator movies
Are
than good
they
ones.
doing the new thing that seems, because obviously we've had lots of sequels.
Yeah,
We've
it's a
reboots.
direct sequel
We've
to
had-
Terminator 2.
Yes, exactly.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger's back in it, and the best part is the picture they've released of, like, you know, so they brought back Linda Hamilton, and she's got a shotgun, and they've very clearly photoshopped sunglasses onto her face. Because she just turned up on set, not giving a fuck. And she's just there with a shotgun, and they just photoshopped sunglasses onto her face. And as bad as it looks, I don't think anything will ever be like. Do you remember the promo images that were released for Terminator Genisys? And it's, I forget her name, Emilia Clarke and Jai Courtney screaming while holding machine guns that they're firing at the ground. It's like, yeah, that's my Sarah Connor. That's the woman who was so paranoid she stockpiled her own fucking coffin full of weapons. Just like, Terminator 3 as bad as it is, I love that shot.
Yeah.
When they go to, like, Sarah Connor's grave, and he's like, you can't desecrate my mum's grave. Your mother's ashes were burnt and they were spread in the Mexico desert. Punch through, pulls out a minigun. Your mum buried a minigun.
Isn't the coffin bulletproof as well?
Yeah, they make the
John
She
Connor in it.
even knew that. And then they put Emilia Clarke in there, and it's like she's like, ah! It's like Tony Montana in The Pavement.